as well, if possible. I'll quickly move on in the interest of the time because we are running 1 hour late now. So, Mr. Aditya Pundir, and before I call him, I would mention that more than a decade ago, when in 2006 the Climate Reality Project started by ex-President Al Gore, he used to be inspiration for a lot of people in India, and he still is, because if you hear him talking, you can learn 5 books worth of content in 1 hour. So what has happened in India and the climate leaders that have been trained by and managed by the Climate Reality Project in India, we would love to quickly hear about that briefly, and more importantly on what is your insight as the country leader from a climate change perspective.
Thank you, Ashish, for giving us this opportunity. I am Aditya. I'm the country head for the Climate Reality Project. And this, I think, room has mainly students. I think 90% are students out here, young people. So it's wonderful to speak to young people. But before I start speaking to young people, let's wake them up. I think they're sleeping, or some of them. So I'll just ask you 2-3 questions. Quick answers. Can you block your nose, hold your nose, and don't breathe for next 1 hour? Can you do that? Yes, no?
No.
Can you live without water for a week?
No.
Would you like to build a house near the sea if I tell you the sea level is going to go up? No. All 3 no's. Okay, so you are awake now, huh? Yes, no. Okay, good. So the whole idea is climate change. So some of the speakers before me have given us very interesting talks about climate change, and I think, so I'll not go back with the history of what climate change is all about, but still I will take my 2 minutes of history of climate change, that why are we talking about climate change? What's the reason for climate change? Because as young people, you people must understand the fundamentals of climate change. What is the fundamental of climate change? The fundamental of climate change is that for the last 10,000 years, the Earth's population has been very small. Very, very small. It's only in the past, say about 200 years back, that suddenly the population became 500 million. With the Industrial Revolution, it became bigger. Then it became 1 billion people. By 1950, we were 2. Now we are 7.7, I think. 7.7 billion people. And they're saying by 2050, we will be around 10 billion people. So we'll have no chairs left out here then. Right? So what is the fundamental thing? Population. We have too many people on the planet. And everybody needs food, everybody needs clothes, everybody needs everything. So all these things which you are requiring are emissions. We are producing emissions for doing whatever we do. I have come here, I have produced emissions, you guys have come here, you have produced emissions. So everything is emission. So the second fundamental of the population is that the emissions are going up. So somehow we have to work on those things which reduce emission, right? So as a climate, people who have gone through the climate seminar, the first thing is the population, too many people, and the second thing is emissions, how can we reduce them? So this is the thing which we all are working on. And briefly touching on India and what the climate impacts have been very heavy on us. We are one of those countries which are very badly impacted by climate change, and we are also one of those countries which are on the, you can say, we are also number 3 if you see the amount of emissions which we are producing. So we are in a double whammy. We have to somehow reduce, of course we didn't do it, that is true, but the problem is we are also India, Bangladesh, we are some of the countries which are the front line of climate change. Fortunately, our government has been doing some wonderful work, and they have been trying to, despite not doing the problem, like they are the ones who didn't do it. It's the Western world which did all the development and put all the carbon up there. But our government has been very proactive, and they have been really trying to fight with justice, equity, and they have been trying to do things which probably can take us from this harm or path of, which is literally leading to destruction. So, coming to it, let me talk to you about, I just written down because already a lot has been talked about. I'll just talk to you about 3, 4, 5, 6 things which as a climate, after the seminar you should be remembering about why are we talking about all this. To clean way, so the emissions go down, the climate gets stopped. The destruction which climate is causing. So that's the first thing, and which is happening, as I won't go into the stats because sir has already talked about it, that we are 175, we're going to be 300 gigawatt we are looking at in the 2030 onwards. So clean energy is the number 1 thing you people must take back. Clean energy, if we can transfer ourselves to clean energy, whether it's wind, whether it is solar and wind, we are talking more because like nuclear, they don't even have any baggage. They are very clean, and solar is something you can, even if you are coming from say top of the hills, if Himalayas you are coming, you can't take a grid there easily. But you can always have a small solar plant working there where about 50 families can have good and clean energy. So that's the advantage of a clean energy. So that's the first thing, and we are very fast moving towards this. Our Prime Minister is probably one of the visionaries of solar energy, and he's even started a project called International Solar Alliance. And in this International Solar Alliance, what we are doing is India and France are playing the lead, and we are telling all the world to come together. And our target is that by 2030, we should have $1 trillion worth of investment. That's a lot of money, $1 trillion. So that's what we are planning to raise by 2030 so that clean energy can be built. So this is clean energy. Another area of climate change is, as Sir has also said, food. Again, food is getting badly impacted by climate change. Our productivity is going down, and you know all the human species is dependent around 9 staple grasses which we eat, whether it's wheat, rice, maize, barley, whatever you call it. So these are the millets. So these are the ones are getting impacted. And what's impact is happening is there 20 to 15% reduction in production. Now again, think what I said in the beginning. Population is going up, so you will need more food or less food?
More food.
And what's happening because of climate change? It's going down. So that's the problem again. So because of climate change, the food production is going down, and on the one hand, population is going up. So there are a lot of things, as Sir has rightly said. There are a lot of species which are being developed, of whether it's wheat. Our Indian Agriculture Research Institute in India is working hard on it. Globally, a lot of rice varieties, a lot of wheat, millet varieties are being developed which can withstand droughts, and they can also withstand floods. So these type of species, this is the development which is happening. So as young people, you can look at businesses which can come out of it. What I'm trying to say is, because it's a thing on economy we are talking, whatever examples I'm trying to give you, think in terms of business. If tomorrow you want to do a job, you want to do a business, how can you take this as an opportunity? See, look at it from an opportunity point of view, the climate change, the way we are talking about it. So, new innovations in food, diets, all these things, this is what's going to be happening. Third thing I'll talk about is transportation. Transportation is again a huge place where a lot of emissions are coming. All the petrol which we are putting in our cars and diesel we are putting in our cars is going up in the smoke. And that's all climate change is happening because of that. So transportation. So the developments in transportation for climate change we are thinking of is, number one, I think we have the best in the country, metro. Now metro, now that's a beautiful transportation, probably the best in the country. It's the envy of everyone. Wherever I go to India, they always crib, in whether I go to Mumbai, Pune, your Delhi is bad. But metro is very good. So, you know, we should feel pride of that metro is very good. So there's a wonderful means of transportation. So let's take more of public transport. That's the key idea. If one person is traveling in a car and there are 20 people or 50 people traveling in a bus, there's a difference. Our emissions get divided. So buses, going by taking public buses, electric buses, going by trains, electric trains, are the ways forward. And of course, walking, as we said in the beginning, walking, cycling, short distances, this is the future. So this is how again you have to think as business opportunities, also as how you can bring your carbon footprint down. Third thing is, fourth thing is water. Water is, as I said in the beginning, it's going to be really, really crucial for a country. Water is one thing we should be very worried about as a country, because unfortunately our population has become going to be 10 billion, but surprisingly the water resources are not growing. We are not having new rivers, we are not having new ponds, we are not having new things. So where do you get all your water from? By drilling holes, right? Sab boring karte hain. So that's how we get our water, and that water, if you keep taking out from a tank, what will happen one day? It'll go bust. So that's what's happening. We are having a severe water crisis coming our way. So as a climate change, the impact is water is happening. So what do you do as a solution? Rainwater harvesting. We are a country in which there's a lot of rain happening. So let's capture each and every drop which falls. That's rainwater harvesting, and that can be done by everyone. Like you can do it at your home, your college, your institution, in your business, anywhere. So again, for climate, in the future, the economy, it's all about rainwater harvesting, how we conserve water, how we better use water. These will be the aspects which we'll be looking at, and you should be also focusing on.
Support. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dr.